Hello everyone, my name is Mama Irene and I'm here with another book summary. Welcome to today's episode where we will be diving into a topic that might sound a bit contradictory at first: Christian atheism. How can someone be both a Christian and an atheist? It sounds impossible, right? But today we're going to explore how this concept isn't just possible, it's a challenge many of us might face even without realizing it. Today, we're dealing with the fifth episode of the book Everywhere Present: Christianity in a One Story Universe. And today's topic is actually Christian atheism. If you have not listened to the episode 1, 2, 3, or 4 of this summary, I suggest to stop at this point and go back and listen to it so you know where we're coming from and where we're going to. With that being said, let's get right into the summary. Let's start with the idea of a two-story universe. Imagine a world where God is distant, residing in the secondary story of reality, far removed from our everyday lives. In this world, God's presence is abstract, something we might debate about or reference in an intellectual sense, but not something we truly experience in our day-to-day life. This is where the idea of Christian atheism comes in. It's the notion that while we may say we believe in God, our lives often reflect a world where God is essentially absent. In other words, we live as if He doesn't really matter or isn't actively involved in our lives. Historically, this idea is closely tied to the philosophy of deism, which is or was quite popular among some American founding fathers. Deists believed in a God who created the universe but then stepped back, allowing it to run according to natural laws without further intervention. It's a worldview that makes God a distant figure, important at the start but irrelevant in the everyday. This approach, while claiming belief in a deity, ends up resembling atheism in practice. After all, if God is no longer involved in the world, does it really matter whether He exists or not? Now, this is where things get really interesting. The author introduces the term practical atheism, where someone might profess faith in God but live in such a way that God's existence or non existence makes no real difference. This isn't just an ancient or philosophical issue, it's something that can creep into our lives today, even in the context of Christianity. Let's consider how this manifests in modern religious practices. In some Christian circles, everything about God is confined to what can be proven or debated using scripture alone without a direct personal experience of God. This approach can reduce faith to a set of ideas rather than a living, breathing relationship with God. When our faith becomes purely intellectual, focused on doctrine, argument, and reason, it risks becoming a form of Christian atheism. We might believe in God theoretically, but He is exiled from our lived experience. This practical atheism also shows up in the secularization of church life. Over time, many churches have adopted business methods and management techniques to push their parishes. While there's nothing wrong with good management, the danger lies in approaching church life with the same secular mindset used in the business world. When success is measured by attendance, income, or conflict management rather than spiritual growth or communion with God, we risk running the church as if God isn't an active participant. The author argues that this secularization extends even to the sacraments. Traditionally, sacraments are meant to be powerful encounters with God, moments where heaven and earth meet. But as the understanding of sacraments have shifted, especially in some Protestant traditions, they've been reduced to symbols or acts of hospitality rather than transformative experiences of God's presence. The Eucharist, for example, once understood as the true body and blood of Christ, is now in some circles seen more as a symbol of community or inclusivity. The danger here is that we end up with an empty cup, something that might look like faith but lacks the substance of God's real presence. So, where do we go from here? The answer, according to the author, lies in reclaiming the reality of the one story universe, a world where God is not just a distant idea but a present and active reality in every aspect of life. This means recognizing that God cannot be confined to the second story, separated from our daily experiences. Instead, He is everywhere present and filling all things, as we say in the Orthodox tradition. At the heart of this shift is a return to true worship and communion with God. Before receiving communion, Orthodox Christians pray a powerful prayer acknowledging that we are about to encounter the living God in the Eucharist. There is no distance, no second story, just us standing at the center of the universe in the presence of the God who is with us. This episode isn't just a critique of where things have gone wrong, it's a call to action. We're invited to examine our lives and our own churches. Are we living as practical atheists where God is little more than a distant idea? Or are we truly living in a one story universe where God is intimately involved in every moment of our lives? The challenge is clear: to return God to his rightful place, not just in our churches, but in the very fabric of our daily existence. It's about keeping the commandments, falling down in worship, and living in the reality that God is indeed with us. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into Christian atheism and the call to rediscover a faith that is alive and real in every part of our lives. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep living in the presence of God, who is always with us. For questions, suggestions, and the written form of this summary, you could reach us at christianbooksummaries1@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. God bless you, and see you in the next episodes.